Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today I thought I'd show you how to make Belle, my princess. It's a 2D doll. She's a standing doll. She has an integral skirt. That means it's part of her. It doesn't come apart from her. And she does stand, as you can see. Well, here I am. She's hair heavy. There we are. So she's my little standing doll. That's what we're going to make today. The colours that I'm using the cocoa brown, some skin tone, white. This is the Rainbow Loom Yellow Frost and the Rainbow Loom Gold. I'm also using 2 little red bands and 2 little green bands. I'm using the 4mm by 7mm mini pony beads, and those are for her eyes. And I'm going to use the back of the hair technique that was created by Crafty Ladybug. So if you haven't checked out her website, her YouTube channel, please do so. Fabulous designs up there. So let's get started. We're going to start by doing, obviously, laying the bands for the back of the hair. But let's talk about our loom. It's going to be in the offset configuration, which means columns 1 and 3 are going to be slightly lower than column 2. We're also going to have the pegs facing towards us. These pegs will have the open part facing towards us. If you don't have an arrow, if you have an arrow, the arrow is facing towards us. We're going to be double banding, and that means you take 2 bands and you place them on the pegs together as if they were one, like this. And we will start at the top and move down. Oops. And we do 3 pair down the center here, like that, 2 pair either side, and then we do a pair from the center to the right and a pair from the center to the left. Now, as you can see on her, we have this big piece of hair that we're going to add to her. Alright, so grabbing a single band, and you can do it on your hook or on your loom. We'll do the first one on our hook. Take a single band, wrap it once and twice, take a pair and slide on and reclaim. Do that another 4 times. So that's 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now, one of the things that you'll notice with her hair that I've done 5 on the outside, 6 in the middle and 7 for the long part. And as we're going to be adding these to these 2 bands here, what we might do is do the 7s first so that they can go nearer the bottom. So we've done 5, let's do 6 and another pair makes 7, and we will add this one braid under here, and this will be our first of 3 braids on this particular pair of bands. Reclaim it, poke the hair braid down here so it comes out of the way. If you're doing this on your loom, you're going to do 7 pairs, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can come down a peg, so a pair, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we need to put an end cap here. Wrap once and twice, pop on the end, and then you loop this up, this little chain. So again, this is 7, so it goes the other side on the other. Take it off. This is going to go this side for 7. You can actually take that band off and slide that on like that. Place the band, Like I said, we can put an end cap here. That means we don't have to take it off all the time. Actually, I'm telling you fibs. We don't put an end cap. We put 2 brown and then an end cap here. Wrap it once and twice and pop that on the end. We'll continue doing our braids. We've done 2 out of the 6. So let's do 2 6s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Do the other side as well. End caps. Dig down and loop these up. Here's our first one. So that's going to get put on this pair of bands as well. Slide on and reclaim. I'll do this side here. Going on this side here. We need 2 pairs of 5. Grab an end cap on each of these. And loop up. Take off the loom, make sure it's not tangled. I can see that one's, do you see how snarled that one is? So I'm going to take this off, straighten it up a bit. I don't want it snarly. And pop this pair on here and replace the bands. You can usually have 2 of them sort of stuck out and then the third one I sort of poke down. I don't want it to come through the back because then it sort of the loom doesn't sit nicely on the table, but I do want it out of the way because I have a lot of bands I need to be putting down here. Let's put the other 5 on. Make sure no snarly bits. That's good. Here we go. Put this on. Replace, pretty that up. Okay, we need to do some crossover bands. So a single, I'm going to stretch across these 3 pegs here in the shape of a triangle, and the same here. Okay, what we're going to do is dig down past that end cap, grab those 2 brown bands, hold them in place and loop this up like that. Okay, we're going to grab the 2 top brown bands here and loop to one side, the next 2 loop to their side, and these loop up once, and twice. And we're going to loop these two bottom ones up once more, and these two bottom ones up once more. Push everything down. You need this space to add our skin tone bands. So here are our skin tone. I'm still double banding. You can just skip from peg 1 to 2 and go from 2 to 3. 1 to 2 is just basically where her hair is going to be. So either side of the face like that, down to the chin, pushing down from the chin to the side, from the chin to the other side. These bands are actually rather thick. They're quite nice, but they're very thick, so it makes it difficult to put too many bands on a peg without squishing down every 5 minutes. If your bands are twisted, run your hook around the inside of the bands. It's horrible to have twisted bands on the face. It looks really nasty. 2 bands for the neck, like that. We're going to take a single band and stretch it across for her face on the bottom part. And then for this part here where the eyes are going to go, we're going to take firstly a single band and wrap it once, twice, 3 times. Twist it 3 times and place over. We're then going to do our eyes. Now, I use beads for eyes. You don't have to. You can use bands. They work just as well. 1 band wrapped on your hook once, twice, 3 times and 4 times is the same as 1 bead. So you do 2 of these and slide these onto a skin tone band. It works exactly the same. So grab your beads or your bands, slide onto your skin tone. You can use a metal threader. I have a video on how to make one on my YouTube channel. You can use floss. If you have a hook that works, you can do that. Place your eyes over these 2 pegs, these second pegs here, and then you're going to just use your hook to take the top part of that band and lift it up and over this peg, and that then acts as a crossover band. Okay, the next part we need to do, it's very important, is to tie the back of the head into the front of the head. So push your hook down and grab the end cap that we used here, the brown bands, and pull them up and over so that they're sitting on these neck bands almost like a necklace. Okay, so that's important. We're going to come down another 2 here, but first let's put some white bands on so that they are underneath the neck. So we've got 2 white here and 2 white here. Again, let's make sure they're not snarled on themselves, and we will put our 2 skin tone here like that, because it's important that the skin tone be the top band that you see. We're then going to put a white, pair of white right here, and down now we're going to put her whole dress really is going to be the frost yellow. The extension little bit here is going to be the gold. So using your frost yellow, in pairs, you can just come all the way down to the end of your loom. Now these little dolls do not have feet, so we don't have to worry about legs and feet. All the way to the bottom. Then we will go from the centre to the right, from the centre to the left, and we'll put an end cap here. Wrap once and twice. Pop our end cap right there, like so. We need to do crossover bands. So take a single and stretch it across in the shape of a triangle over these 3 pegs. Now at the bust line we do one that is not twisted. These 2, okay, in the center, so you've got her shoulders where the white bands are, you come down 1, 2, the 3rd and the 4th peg down. So from the top it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pegs 7 and 8. But if you're going from her shoulders, it's these ones here. You're going to take a single band and you're going to stretch it on itself. Now I'm using the limited edition frost bands, and they're silicone, so they're very difficult to stretch. So what I do is I stretch it between the 2 pegs with my fingers, but to stretch it across to this 3rd one, I use my hook. It will mean looming this up is going to be a bit tight, but that's okay, we can deal with that. Stretch it across, there we go. Okay, we need to do her arms and her little hands, so a single band, wrap once and twice, we slide onto a pair, and we have 2 more pair of skin tone. And then we have a pair of white. And reclaim. And we have another pair of white. Take a pair of bands, wrap once and twice. Put this back on your hook and gently move the wrap bands over, and then pull down on your hook a bit. Take another 2, wrap once and twice, reclaim those bands of your arm and move these wrapped bands up and over, like so. And they're going to sit on her little shoulder, just here. You're going to do the same for the other side. So a single, wrap once and twice, slide onto a pair, another pair, make sure they're not sliding on themselves, another pair, pair of white, one more pair of white. Take this off your hook, take 2 white, wrap once and twice, put this back on your hook, slide these over, move down your hook a little bit, another 2, wrap once and twice, oops, messed that one up, let's try that again, once and twice, reclaim, move this back over and pop this on the shoulder like so. Alright, so we have arms, we're going to do our little extension bit here, but first what we're going to do is dig down past that end cap, grab the 2 top bands and loop them down to the left, and the other ones loop down to the right, and we're going to loop up these first 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and push everything down. So now, again using the frost, you're going to come through this little spot here with your hook, grab a pair of bands and draw it through and reclaim. Okay, so let me move these bands out the way so you can see. So I have a pair of bands here. I'll zoom in so you get a better view, okay? So there's your pair of bands right here, okay? You're going to take another pair of bands. It's just like doing a chain, except you've got a loom in the way. And do another pair through like so. Now with this pair, what we're going to do, don't reclaim just yet. You're going to hold on to it with your finger here and grab this crossover band and put it on your hook, alright, and then reclaim with those bands, keeping it on its side. You're going to do another pair of your main colour, okay, and again, don't reclaim. You can keep it on your finger. You're going to come over here and grab the next crossover band and then reclaim. Grab a pair of gold and pull through. Please note I've changed to gold. Grab your crossover band, reclaim your gold. Get your second pair of gold, put it on the end of your hook, pull through. You're pulling through 5 loops, so the 2 loops that are either side for the gold, but also the crossover band loop. And here's our last pair of gold. Place on the end of your hook and drag through, and they are going to sit right here, okay? Make sure that your crossover bands are still in their right spot, and they are, okay? Let's do the other side. Move my bands over to give me a bit of room. So again, we go through the bottom here with 1 pair and reclaim. Our second pair, we go through, we're not reclaiming. We're going to come across with our hook and grab the crossover band and just put it on our hook and then reclaim. 1 more pair of the yellow frost. Draw it through all 5 of those loops that are on your hook. Don't reclaim. You're going to grab the next and pop it on your hook. We're going for our first pair of gold. Pop them on the end and twist your hook a little bit so that you can get through. Don't reclaim. We're going for the next crossover. Pop it on your hook. Reclaim. Get another pair of gold. Drag it through. Don't reclaim. You're grabbing that last crossover band. Put it on your hook. Your last pair of gold. Pull through, reclaim so it's safe on your hook. Now we're going to loop it up to here and make sure, can you see how this crossover band needs to come under this peg? So all you do, pull it out a bit and just make sure that it's sitting nicely. Put my bands away so that I'm not throwing them all over the place. So that's the little skirt. Now we can do a little bit more looping up. You're going to dig down here and grab these 2 bottom and loop up. You're pushing the crossover bands back with the back of your hook just so that you're getting those 2 bottom bands. And again on this one. Now, on this one, I want the gold bands to be on top, but if I dig down and pull them up, they're going to be underneath. I'm going to zoom back out for you so you can see. So what I need to do is lift these 2 bands up, the 2 loops, not these ones under. Dig down, grab my yellow bands and loop them up, and then put my gold ones back on top and push down. I'll do the center. And then we'll do this side as well. Pushing everything back out of the way with the back of your hook, just so that you can get to those bottom 2. Again, we need to come under these top 2 gold bands, hold them out to the side, loop down, grab your bands that you're looping up, and then replace the gold. If I can get my hook out, there we go. Link these into place, push down, grab the bands and loop up. Now please remember I said that it was going to be tight here if you're using the frost bands, because we have these looped on themselves. Okay, so we're going to do the arms. Down, we do from the shoulders to the neck so that the white bands are on top, and then do the neck so that the skin tone sits on top of the white bands and it becomes the predominant colour that you're going to see. Dig down to find the 2 skin tone bands and loop those up. So before we loop up the face, we're going to add a little bit of extra side fluff, I guess, of hair to her. So we're just going to pop our hook under here and grab a pair of bands on this band here. Okay, grab another pair of bands and pull through so that you have 2 pair of bands on this particular set. Okay, now this is going to come up to this band, to this peg, I'm sorry, here. All right, I'm going to add one more pair here and just pop that on this peg at the top. I'm going to do the same on this side. So again, you're going through here, grab your 2 bands and pull them through like that. Grab another pair, pull through, one more pair. So you have 3 pair here. Sorry, they're getting a bit tangled. There we go. And drag this up to sit on this top peg on the right. Like that. Now we're going to dig down and find the 2 top skin tone and loop in the next 2. Loop in these 2. Make sure you don't grab the brown band that's under there too. Loop these up. Now dig down here, find the 2 skin tone and loop up. I can see that's twisted and I don't want it twisted. I don't like twisted bands on the face. And loop up. At this point we're going to lift the 2 top bands up, push everything back with the back of your hook so that you're getting rid of all the crossover bands and you're just looping up those bottom 2 brown bands. Replace and lock into place by looping this one in. Same here, lift the 2, hold them out to the side, grab those bottom 2, loop up, replace and lock into place with those 2 bottom ones to the centre, and then don't forget these centre ones here for her bangs. Okay, we are going to do a bun for her hair. She sort of has this bun on the back of her hair. So get 3 bands brown and just twist it once in a figure 8 on your hook like this. Okay, keep it down your hook. What we're going to do is do a normal tie off, but with these bands down our hook. So push down past everything like that. So you're out the end here, grab your 2 tie off bands and pull back through. I tend to twist as I pull back through, just so that I don't get this hook part caught on the bands. Slide, before you do anything, slide those twisted bands on, reclaim, and then take the 2 that are closest to you that have the twisted bands on, up and over and pull tight. I'm going to take her off the loom. Gently ease her. Don't just rip her off the loom. You'll be upset with yourself when bands break. You might even be upset with me. Gently ease her out. Especially tight where you have those bands that are double looped on themselves, and when you have extra bands like the skirt. Okay, so stretch her into shape. I do the arms up and down, here we go. Alright, so for the back here, I actually sort of tied mine all together because I didn't want it to look like she had, you know, 5 different braids, 6 different braids. So what I did, I went through the end cap of the outer one on one side. We split them into sides. End cap on the right, and pulled through a brown band and did a little slip knot. And then, because that was part 5, I went through, I got my hook, and you're lining them up, so I went through the next loop here on the one next to me, and then, so that was the end cap is here. I went through the end cap on this one, the one under the end cap on this one, and then if you look at this one, I'm going through the second one under the end cap on the third one, so that they sort of line up. And then I just stretched it out for the minute and popped it over that third strand to do the same to the other side. Alright, so go through the end cap on the other side, grab the band, do a slip knot, again turn it over. I'm going through the one under the end cap on this one, and 2 under the end cap on this one, and make sure I've got it. There we go. Here's the other one on the other side. There we go. Put both of those little loops on my hook. Take a single brown, and you're going to join those 2 loops together in a slip knot like that. And then what I did was I tied it, I sort of threaded up the back of the inside of her hair on the inside bands only of the 2 that are in the middle. So there's one side, it's not like it's terribly difficult, it's just sort of sewing these together, but it's not hard. Up to about this spot here, and then I just took, I'm at the top so it doesn't matter, I took another band and tied a slip knot here and just hid that down the back of one of these braids so that it couldn't be seen, like that. And that's how I attached her hair all together. For her little rose, 2 red bands and 2 green. You're going to take the 2 red on your hook, wrap once and twice, and slide onto the 2 green. And what you're going to do is reclaim the green, pinch the red together, put the green one over the other, and pull tight like that. And then just go through a little part, the end cap of her hand, and pull just the 2 green bands through like this. So that's her little rose. Yeah, that really does look rather sad. I would use at least, I think I used 3 bands. I would use at least 5 bands for her bun, okay? Just so that she looks a little like she has a healthier bun. Well, as you know, I wasn't very happy with how few bands I did for her bun. So what I did, I unpicked my tie-off bands. And you have to do this very carefully, because if you aren't careful, they will all go all over the place. Well, it's okay for them to go all over the place here in your hands. What you don't want to happen is the 2 bands that are holding all your hair together to come apart. So stretch them through so that they're even like this. Okay, and hopefully yours are doing that too. And then grab, now I've grabbed 6 bands, 5 or 6 bands will work. Figure 8 on your hook. I'm going to slide it onto the 2 front tie-off bands like this. Okay, reclaim the back ones, take the 2 front up and over and pull to the back of the head. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to gently hide these bands under the back of her hair. Ease your way with them so that you're sort of threading them under these bands here, okay, till you're at the back of the neck. So I'm at the back of the neck, well, probably just about here. Alright, so here's the 2 tie-off bands. I'm going to splay them open and pop this big bit of hair under so that it looks as if I've sort of got this hair tied behind, and that will keep those in place. Or you can hide them at the back of the head. It really doesn't matter, but I thought that looked quite pretty. So there she is. Now what we need to do is the standing part of her dress. And to do this, we're using our hook only. We've got 4 stitches. This is our first stitch, this is our second stitch, third stitch and fourth stitch. I'm going to zoom in so you can see clearly what I'm doing. Each stitch has got a side to it. These 2 loops are on the front side, these 2 loops are on the back side. We're going to start putting our hook through the 2 loops at the front side of the first stitch. Take 2 gold bands, drag through and reclaim, and you're going to place the 2 front ones over the 2 back ones to make a slip knot. We're going to do the same again. Push through that same stitch. You're still through that first stitch at the front, and grab 2 bands, 2 over. Now you're going to join these 2 slip knots together by taking the first one up and over the second one. Now we work to the second stitch, and we're only working in these front 2 loops to start with. We're going to do the same again. 2 gold bands, up and over, and join, and then back through that second stitch for our second slip knot, up and over, and join. Now we can go to the third stitch, still the front loops, up and over, and join. And our second stitch, second slip knot. These slip knots are called single crochets, so you're actually crocheting with your bands at the minute. See how it's forming this little sort of lip? We're into the 4th stitch now. Let's do 2 in here. Here's our first one. Join them together. Go back for a second one right here. Oops. One over the other. Join them together. Now we move to the other side, and we have these 4 stitches here. So go through the first one here, 2 bands, you're double banding, do a slip knot and join them together. Do a second slip knot, join them together. We're into this second stitch here, one over the other, join together. Do our second one in that second stitch, one over the other, join together. Move to the third stitch, join together, and here's our fourth stitch. We'll do 2 in here. Here's our first one, and let's do our second one. Now, spread these out just a little bit so that you can see what you have. You now have these new stitches, see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. There'll be 8 either side. What we're going to do is put our hook through, and again you're just going through the first lip, the first 2 of these stitches, loops, not the second 2. You got them, okay? So just these first 2, the front ones. But this time, even though we're double banding, we're only going to do 1 slip knot in each. So here's our first slip knot, and join together. Then move to your second stitch. You're not doing a second one in that same stitch. That's going to break, so we'll get rid of that. So I'm in my second stitch, and I do again a slip knot and join to the one in the previous stitch. Move to number 3, which is down here. So we're only doing 1 slip knot in each now. And just using these front loops, the loops that are closest to you, not the back loops. Work your way around. Sometimes it's difficult on these end ones, but make sure you don't leave them out. The other thing to remember also when doing this is when you first finish, if she doesn't stand up, it could be that the bands need a few hours to relax. Sometimes it can take a day for the bands to sort of relax and get into shape, and they're far more malleable then. And this is forming a little base on the end of her dress here. I'm at near the end. I have two stitches to go through, so I want to make sure that I don't miss them. Here we go, there's one there. And my lucky last is right here. And then I'm going to take a single band, going through those next 2 as if I was going to do another one, and I'm going to do a slip knot. So single band through those 2, through the 2 that are on my hook, and then join them together and pull tight in a slip knot. And then this, the slip knot, the tie-off band, I just hide inside the skirt. You can just go through some of these bands here and drag that back through, and you're none the wiser that it's there. So there she is in her standing skirt. She looks like she's cheerleading at the minute. Stretch her into shape a little bit. Arms up and down, up and down. And she might be a bit hair heavy to start with. There you go. There's your little standing princess, Belle. I hope you enjoy making her. Take care. Bye-bye.